Hello students, we have Mr. Sims here, and this is our first lesson in Module 4. We are on page 5 of the new lesson book, and in this video I will be doing examples number 1 and number 2. You'll be pausing for the exercises A, B, and C, and then I'll be doing example number 4, all in one video. So, to go ahead and get started. So, working in percents, there's 3 different relationships that we'll talk about. So, you might remember this: part over whole equals percent over 100. And in the course of the next couple of days, I'm going to be going through examples where we find the part, where we find the whole, and where we have to find the percent. Okay? And this proportion can be used to solve all of them. All right, so in our first example, okay, reading for the gist, how many got an A? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break this up into 2 different parts here, because I'm going to show you how we could use a proportion, and then some of you might know another way to do a percent. I'm not sure if you did it last year in 6th grade, but so in Ty's math class, 20% of students earned an A on the test. There were 30 students in the class. All right, now what I'm going to use is I tend in this module to use a lot of tape diagrams for visuals. You might not need it for this one, and a lot of them you might not need it for, but when we get to the more complicated percent problems, they definitely do help out a little bit. All right, so here we go. I'm going to draw a tape diagram. Here's what a tape diagram with a percent looks like. You always start with a 100%. Okay, block. All right, now we're going to make a block and call that 20%. And these are the students that got an A. All right, now this is going to come not in this example, but then there's 80% not get an A. But example number 2 will kind of go into that a little bit more. So what you're looking at is you have to figure out what is the whole amount. The whole amount is the 30. So when we set our proportion up, it'll be 20 over 100. It's the 20% of students that got an A out of the 100% of the students that were in the class. Okay? The 30 will go on the bottom, the X will go on the top. All right. Now what we're going to do is, now that we've had a module in algebra and we've done a lot of practice with algebra, I'm going to show you how to write this out more algebraically. So we are going to, and we use the word cross multiply, and watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 100 times x, 100x. I'm going to do 20 times 30, which is 600. All right, and now we got an equation, a one-step equation, 100x equals 600, and then we divide by the 100. And you get x is equal to 6. 6 students. Now, you will get the same thing if you do the cross multiply and divide by the 100, but I want to show you more mathematically, because the next year in 8th grade math, you're going to be doing proportions, but you're going to have to write them out algebraically. So, all right, now there is another way that you can do this, and it's using the decimal version. Think of the word of meaning multiply. And we're trying to find 20% of the 30 total students. So what we can do is convert the decimal. We can use our FDP pie chart, and we can convert this to 0.2, and of means multiply. So really we just take 0.2 times 30, which is 6. Okay? The decimal version definitely gets you the answer a lot quicker for the of problems. All right, example number 2. In example number 2, how many pieces are not red? And notice how that word is underlined and bold. All right? So 300 pieces, 28% are red. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to draw a tape diagram for this. And there's a couple different ways you can answer this one too. But so the whole thing is the 100%, which in this case is the 300. In today's lesson, we're finding the part. So we're going to be given the whole amount in every single one of these examples. All right, so now I'm going to make 28% are red. Okay? That means that I could take 100 minus 28%. That means that 72% were not red. So what I would do, or what you could do, is you could take the 28% and get 28% of 300. But what's going to happen is some of you are not going to think to subtract it away. So I like to use the 72% that's not red, and this is where the tape diagram can really help you. So I'm going to set my proportion up as 72 over 100. Okay, equals x over 300. And then we'll do our cross multiplying again. Multiply here. So here we get 100x equals 72 times 300 is 21600. Divide by 100 on both sides, and you get 216. We're not red. Move this over a little bit so you can see where I ended up with. Okay. Now, if you use the 28%, what you would get is you would probably get 84, and then you would have to subtract it away from the 300. But you know, that's the step you're going to have to remember. All right. So at this point, you're going to hit pause on the video so that you can work on exercise 1, which is 3 problems on A, B, and C. And when you're done, you could obviously unpause, and then I'll have the answers coming up. So hit pause now. Okay, and we're back. And just wanted to give you the answers so you knew. So in A, the proportion will be 12 over 100, x over 25. You should get 3 projects. Okay, I'm not showing all the work in all these, but you should always show your work. All right, in B, the proportion is 70 over 100, x over 30. There should be 21 students. Okay, and then in C, careful on this one, 40% hit the dartboard. How many darts did not hit the dartboard? So I used the 60% that didn't hit it, that missed, and I got 9 that didn't hit. Okay. All right, and moving along, one more example. We're now on page 6 at the bottom. And this one's got a little bit more kick to it. What is the town's population in 2005? All right. Every 5 years in March, the population is recorded. In 1995, the town had a population of 4,500 people. From 1995 to 2000, the population increased by 15%. Okay? From 2000 to 2005, the population decreased by 4%. So the first thing we have to look at is from 1995 to 2000, an increase of 15%. So one thing is just find 15% of the whole amount, 4,500. X goes here. You get 100x. The calculator. 15 times 4,500. That would be 67,500. Divide by 100. Okay, and you will get 675. But that's not what the population is. That's the increase. So what has to happen is you got to add that 675 to the 4,500. So now, okay, 675 plus 4,500. And it's 5,175. Okay. Now, when you're doing a compound percent, okay, you have to do them separately. So that's why I did the 15% one first. All right, so now we're going to look at 2000 to 2005. This is a 4% decrease. So we're going to find 4% of now this amount, the 5,000, move this up, sorry, 5,175. Okay, and a decrease, so now put the x here, we get 100x equals 4 times 20700. Divide by 100, you get x equals 207. Right, so now what's going to happen is this has to get subtracted because it's a decrease. Okay, so this is definitely up in the level 3 to level 4 category as far as. So now I take 5,175, subtract 207, and we get 4,968 in 2005. All right, so this concludes our video, and now you'll have your independent practice that you can continue to work on, and then just call on me if you need some help. Hey, this is Mr. Sims, signing off.